Hey guys, welcome back to what is left of my garden after the snowstorm. So today I was going to do a soil test, so I figured I'd take you along to see that whole process, and I figured I'd show you what's left of my garden after having 4 inches of snow and 10-degree nights. This is like the coldest it's ever been in Houston area ever. So mostly everything died. So I'll give you a quick tour, show you what it's looking like, and then I'll show you how to do the soil test. Okay, this is my lavender. As you can see, I do still have some green coming, so I think this is going to be okay. Now this is sad. This is our orange tree. It was here when we moved in, so I'm not, stuck on it, but it is sad. Citrus does not like cold. This is where my cabbage was, and it's completely decimated now. I did have lettuce there that I harvested before the snowstorm, which was nice, but what was left obviously did not make it. Right next to it, I have my carrots. As you can see, tops completely died, but they're resilient. They are trying to make a comeback. Now I had some peas. Oh, this hurts my soul. They are crisp. These guys are not making it back. And surprisingly, my onions look okay. I did cover my onions and my garlic though, just with some sheets. You can see some of these ends are pretty mushy. I need to come and cut them. But for the most part, they look pretty good, right? I did have some other peas back here, and you can see completely gone. Now, my herbs, pleasantly surprised. I have some chives, which, like my onions, died. But look, there's already new growth. Apparently you cannot kill thyme or oregano. They're here for the long haul. Parsley, same thing. Died, but look, new growth, guys. Rosemary looks toast. Same thing with my sage. Oh, I had so much sage. There is a little bit of new leafy green, so I'm hoping that maybe this will rebound. But I have new basil and stuff I'm going to plant back here anyway, so no hard feelings. Can you believe that was Swiss chard? I did not harvest my Swiss chard or cover it. I thought, it's cold hardy. Let's see what it does. That's what it does, guys. When it's 10 degrees, it dies. Now really quick, let me show you the soil test that I'm going to be using today on all my garden beds. It's a rapid soil test kit. So it's going to be able to test my pH, my nitrogen, my phosphorus, and my potassium. Yeah, so NPK. So I'm going to put a little picture on the screen to show you what NPK stands for and what that does on a plant. So that's why it's so important to know what's in your soil, so that way when we're getting ready for the spring and we want to fertilize our plants, we know what to give them. Because you can have too much of something, and we're going to see that today. Nitrogen is responsible for producing the leaf growth and green leaves. Deficiency in this is going to cause yellow leaves and stunted growth. Phosphorus is for the plant genetics and seed development. Deficiency in this is going to cause stunted growth as well. Phosphorus aids in plant maturity, increases the yield, increases fruit development. Potassium helps strengthen the plant. It's going to help improve the color and the flavor of the fruit, and it's going to further aid in growth. Deficient in potassium is going to lead to stunted and poor development root systems. So this is especially important in root crops like carrots and radishes. I'm going to get about a cup of soil from each garden bed. I have some little garden baggies. They're just Ziploc bags that I labeled bed 1 through my 4 beds, and I'll put a cup of soil in here, and then we'll bring it inside and I'll show you how to use these kits. So first things first, you're gonna wanna kind of just scoop back first like a couple inches of soil. And then, like I said, we're gonna get a cup of soil. That looks about right. Just gonna put it in my bag. And that's it. I'm gonna get soil from the rest of my beds and then we'll head inside. Okay, we're back in the plant room. I have my soil sample. Again, I got a cup of soil. I have 5 cups of water. I have a bowl that we're gonna mix this in. And so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna pour our soil into a bowl or container, whatever you're gonna use. And then you're gonna add your water and not spill it. That was a feat all on its own. Okay, comes with a little, I don't know what these are called. Comes with a little section. So I'm just gonna use this since I'm gonna have to put it in here to stir this up. And it says to let this sit for 30 minutes up to 24 hours until everything settles back down. So it comes with 4 little bottles, one for measuring pH, one for measuring nitrogen, one for measuring potassium, and then one for measuring phosphorus. And then it comes with these little pill bodies that, you know, green goes with green and so forth. So we're gonna let this settle for a couple of minutes, and then when we come back, we'll put them in the tube so we can test them. Okay guys, it's been about 30-40 minutes. Looks like majority of my soil has settled. So I'm gonna bring you in a little closer so you can see how this looks and we'll get to testing. Okay, now that we have you much closer, I'm gonna use the dropper that this kit came with. We're gonna start with nitrogen. So what we're gonna do is there's a fill line right here. Then I'm gonna fill up with water. I'm not gonna disturb any of the soil. Just gonna grab water. And I did bring out some white printer paper. I just thought that would make it easier to be able to see the true color for this test. So filled up the dropper. There's 2 ports. So I'm gonna put it in the test chamber. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this a couple times. Okay, bear with me. Now that we have both sides filled to the fill line with our water, again, this is nitrogen, this is the purple kit. I'm going to take the purple capsule that they sent with it, lean it all to one side, and try to lift this apart. And we're going to put it on the test chamber. Put the lid back on. The lid on tight, and then we're going to shake thoroughly. And then we're supposed to let it develop for 10 minutes. So I'm going to fill up my phosphorus and potassium while we wait for that one. Okay, real close. So I let these sit for about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna show you what they're looking like. So let's start with nitrogen. So I'm gonna hold it up with my printer paper. Whoa. Okay, so you can see it's kind of, the color to me looks like it's a little bit in between, but leaning more to right there, which means that our nitrogen is sufficient. It's not adequate, which is the one right above it, and it's not in a surplus, which is good. We don't want a surplus of nitrogen because remember, nitrogen promotes leafy green. So if we had tons and tons of nitrogen, our plants would be focusing on growing leaves instead of actual fruit. But I am deficient. I'm not adequate, and I'm definitely not a surplus. So now I know when I'm amending my beds that I'm okay with adding some more nitrogen. So some easy fertilizers that have lots of nitrogen is going to be blood meal and then nitrate of soda. I also typically like to use like a liquid fish emulsion that's a lower in nitrogen, but it's more nitrogen than everything else. So I'm definitely going to look at adding some blood meal into my garden bed this year. Now let's look at my phosphorus. That was the blue test. So to me it looks like we're right in here. For color, maybe even a little dark, somewhere between here and there. So for phosphorus, we're adequate and sufficient. So I don't need to add additional phosphorus to my garden beds from this test. If you were deficient in phosphorus, you can look at adding bone meal, and that's going to bring up your phosphorus. And last but not least, potassium. So to me, again, looks like we're somewhere in this range, which means that we are between adequate and sufficient in potassium. So I don't think I need to add additional potassium into this garden bed. But if you needed to add it, an easy fertilizer is going to be potash. So now I know my garden beds need more nitrogen, which is something that I thought they probably were going to have a surplus of, and I thought I was going to be lacking in my other areas. So that's why testing your soil is so important. So those are my test results. I only did one bed on camera, but I did do the same results, and they're pretty similar. Again, I use the same raised bed potting mix in all my soils, so I'm not surprised that all my beds are similar because it is all the same potting mix. But I wasn't sure with growing different crops in them if different nutrients had been added or depleted from the different crops that I had growing in them through last season. But yeah, I'm excited for spring, and this just makes me even more eager to get planting. And we are so close to planting. So now I know I'm gonna go clear out my beds, pull out all that dead, frozen mush, and prep my beds for spring. So now I know I'm probably going to go in with just an organic, even fertilizer, but I am going to pay attention to my plants this season and know that I could add a little bit more nitrogen. So I'll probably be hitting my plants with their weekly fertilizer once they're in the ground. But I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I'll plant with you later.